11:43 p.m. Ninawa Governorate, Iraq. The Black Hawk drops altitude over a city, still carrying the scars of occupation. Below, scattered amber lights mark a neighborhood that spent 3 years under ISIS control. Inside the aircraft, 7 raiders sit without speaking. The mission briefing ended 90 minutes ago. 3 American aid workers are being held inside a fortified compound controlled by ISIS fighters. Intelligence says the hostages are still inside. Nobody knows how much longer that will be true. In 9 minutes, the team will breach his position. If the assault succeeds, the hostages go home. If it fails, somebody dies. Maybe one of them, maybe one of you. You look across the cabin at the raider seated opposite. He is 24 years old. Tonight is his first direct action raid. 3 years ago, he was still finishing boot camp. Tonight, he will carry the same weight as everyone else in this aircraft. 7 years ago, so would you. This is your life, as every rank in Marine. Raiders. Level 1, Private E1, 4:55 a.m. Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island, South Carolina. The bus stops. A door opens. A drill instructor is in your face before your feet hit the ground. Boot camp does not begin. Boot camp is already happening. 13 weeks start at this exact moment. Nobody explains the schedule. Nobody explains what comes next. You run when told to run. You stop when ordered. You eat when permitted. You sleep when instructed. Every hour inside Parris Island works toward one purpose: removing the civilian and installing something the Marine Corps can use. The Crucible arrives in week 12. 54 hours of continuous movement, near zero sleep, hills, water obstacles, and exhaustion deliberately stacked. When it ends, someone places metal into your open palm. Eagle, globe, anchor. For the first time, they call you Marine. It is not the end of anything. It is the beginning of a much longer test. Level 2, Private First Class, E2, 7:14 a.m. Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. The Fleet Marine Force operates differently. Nobody manages your hours the way Parris Island managed them. The expectation has simplified into one word: perform. As a private first class, you spend weeks in forests and on firing ranges, learning what the Marine Corps actually demands from its people, not the brochure version. What the profession truly requires. During a battalion field exercise, your element moves for 31 straight hours under rain with minimal rations. Nobody complains. No one falls out. You learn something important in that silence. Standards are not goals. They are the floor. Somewhere in this period, without a defining moment, something shifts. You stop thinking about what Marines do. You start thinking about what you want to become. Level 3, Lance Corporal E3, 1:33 a.m. Al-Assad Air Base, Iraq. Dust drifts through the floodlights in slow, horizontal sheets. Your first deployment began 11 weeks ago. As a Lance Corporal, you are no longer the newest face in the platoon. That belongs to someone else now. Junior Marines ask you questions. You answer when you can. The answers you don't have stay with you longer than they should. One night, a convoy 4 kilometers from your position takes fire. The alert comes over the radio. Everyone moves to their positions, not toward the firefight. Training takes over. Afterward, sitting in the silence of a base that felt quiet an hour ago, something becomes clear. Professionalism is not about being fearless. It is about staying functional when everything inside you wants to stop. That realization doesn't leave. For the first time, combat stops feeling theoretical. The possibility of never coming home becomes real. It follows you into every deployment after this one. Level 4, Corporal E4, 5:08 a.m. Camp Pendleton, California. The promotion ceremony lasts 9 minutes. The weight of what follows does not. As a corporal, Marines answer directly to you now. Their failures become questions about your leadership. Their performance becomes evidence of your attention. You lead fire team exercises. Conduct range qualifications. Evaluate combat readiness in Marines still learning what combat readiness means. 2 years pass inside this growing responsibility. Then, one afternoon, a name appears on a battalion board. Marine Raider Assessment and Selection. Several Marines tell you not to waste your time. One staff sergeant looks directly at you. Selection isn't for guys like you. You file the application before the week ends. Not because you are certain, because the uncertainty is exactly the reason. Marine Raider Assessment and Selection, 4 a.m. Stone Bay, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. 59 candidates stand beneath halogen floodlights. Cold, damp air moves in off the coast. There is no introductory briefing. There's only the first task. Assessment and selection has already begun. The first 4 days remove 11 candidates. By day 7, ruck marches extend beyond any distance you have trained for. Land navigation tests follow back to back, with almost no recovery between them. On day 12, you make a critical error. A checkpoint missed. Time lost correcting the course. For the following 30 hours, you are convinced your selection is finished. Nobody confirms anything. Nobody offers reassurance. The uncertainty is not accidental. It is the assessment. Candidates who require certainty to keep moving are already gone. Every day, somebody disappears from formation. You keep moving. Final results are posted 3 weeks after arrival. Fewer than 1 in 3 candidates hear their name called. Yours is among them. Nothing operationally changes tonight. Tomorrow, the hardest training of your life begins. Individual training course. 5 a.m. Stone Bay Training Facility. The instructors are not impressed by selection. Selection proved one thing, that you could endure. The individual training course determines whether you can perform. The distinction is everything. Over 9 months, you study weapons systems, close quarters battle, combat trauma medicine, demolitions, communications, reconnaissance, and survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. Training never holds the same shape long enough for routine to develop. Maritime operations, 1 week. Mountain navigation, the next. Urban assault drills repeated until movements stop being decisions and become reflexes. Midway through the course, during a live fire rotation, you commit a muzzle discipline error. Training stops. No voice is raised. The silence does more damage than any correction would. For the following week, the mistake follows every evolution. Every week, another seat in the classroom is empty. Every week, another name disappears from the roster. Not as punishment, as the standard made visible. Graduation arrives without ceremony. The course ends. You are a Marine Raider. The weight of what that means takes longer to arrive than the title itself. Level 5, Sergeant E5, 11:47 p.m. Al-Tanf Garrison, Syria. A cold desert wind moves across the compound. The mission briefing ended 20 minutes ago. Tonight, your team will conduct a direct action raid against a suspected ISIS facilitator network operating near the border. As a sergeant, you're no longer just responsible for yourself. You are one of the operators younger raiders look toward. The helicopter lifts off shortly after midnight. Inside the aircraft, The atmosphere is calm, professional, focused. The target compound appears through green night vision lenses. The assault lasts less than 15 minutes, but not everything goes according to plan. During the breach, one raider suffers a serious injury. The mission succeeds. The target is captured. Yet, the helicopter ride home is silent. Nobody talks about success. Everyone is thinking about the teammate receiving emergency treatment. That is when you learn a difficult truth. Missions can succeed while people still suffer. Months of planning, years of training, finished in minutes. That's the reality of special operations. Long preparation, short violence, immediate consequences. The injured raider survives. The scar remains. So does the lesson. Special operations is not measured by successful raids. It is measured by what those raids cost. By now, you've spent nearly a decade becoming the Marine you once looked up to, but leadership keeps growing. And so do the stakes. Level 6, Staff Sergeant E6, 11:44 p.m. Erbil Operational Hub, Iraq. The operations center runs under dim red lighting. 3 screens display overlapping drone feeds. A partner force element has lost communication 30 kilometers south. Your team is the contingency. As a staff sergeant, you still carry a weapon. You still enter dangerous structures. But now you are thinking about routes, contingency extraction points. What the operation looks like if 2 things go wrong simultaneously. The mission launches before midnight. It concludes before dawn. 3 personnel are recovered. 1 is not. The missing operator is located 6 hours later. Alive. Barely. After action reports use careful language. The outcome is framed as a partial success. You write your section of the report with precision. Success is never uncomplicated. Not at this level. Not anymore. Level 7, Gunnery Sergeant E7, 6:12 a.m. Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. The desk holds 3 deployment packets, a training schedule requiring revision, and personnel reviews that will not wait. As a gunnery sergeant, the mission begins long before insertion. You are responsible for readiness, equipment, training standards, medical clearances. The mental state of men who are very good at hiding when something is wrong. One afternoon, a raider with 8 years in the community walks into your office. His performance record is exceptional. For the previous 6 months, nobody noticed. Or maybe they noticed and assumed someone else would handle it. His eyes are not. You close the door. You listen. The problem does not resolve in one meeting. 3 months later, he returns. The difference is visible immediately. Not because the problems disappeared, because now he is carrying them with support instead of carrying them alone. That matters. But one meeting is enough to change the direction. Leadership at this level has no tactical component. It is entirely human. And human is harder than any mission profile you have ever run. Level 8. First Sergeant E8. 8:47 p.m. Joint Special Operations Task Force. Undisclosed location. The mission package is clean. Target confirmed. Intelligence verified across 3 independent sources. Timeline approved. You review it again anyway. Movement logs across 72 hours. Pattern of life data collected over 6 weeks. Communication intercepts. There is a gap. 40 hours of surveillance where the target's vehicle does not appear at a location it visited every previous day for 30 consecutive days. You flag the discrepancy. The operation is delayed. Some people push back. The intelligence is solid, they say. The timeline is tight. 36 hours later, updated satellite imagery confirms the location was already compromised. The original insertion point sat directly adjacent to a secondary security element that never appeared in the original assessment. No mission launches. No awards are given. No headlines are written. Success is sometimes measured entirely by disasters that never occur. Level 9, Sergeant Major E9, 9:55 a.m. Marine Raider Regiment Headquarters, Camp Lejeune. The meetings begin before most Marines finish breakfast. At this level, the work is not tactical. It is institutional. 3 weeks earlier, a promotion recommendation crossed your desk. The Raider was exceptional, operationally flawless, but character matters too. You recommend against the promotion. Nobody remembers the promotions that happen. Everyone remembers the ones that should never have happened. The decision is unpopular. You sign it anyway. Who are the leaders being developed right now? Are the standards being maintained or quietly eroded? Is the culture of the regiment transferring forward with fidelity? One afternoon, you stand at the edge of a selection course observation area. A group of candidates has been moving continuously for 19 hours. Their faces carry the same expression yours carried 22 years ago. Some will become raiders. One or two may stand exactly where you are standing in 2 decades. The thought carries no sentiment. Only weight. The standard does not belong to you. You hold it for a period of time. Then you pass it forward and step back. Return to Ninawa. 11:43 p.m. Ninawa Governorate, Iraq. Same aircraft. Same darkness below. The aircraft is cold. Outside the window, there is only altitude and black. The door opens. The team moves through a neighborhood that has seen more operations than it will ever know. This one will not appear in any record. 9 minutes. The door comes off. The team enters. A young raider goes down. Nobody knows if he's hit. Nobody knows if he's dead. 12 minutes of controlled, professional movement. The target is located in a rear room. 3 journalists are found in an adjacent structure, alive. The extraction begins immediately. One of them cannot stop thanking the team. Nobody responds. The mission is not finished until everyone leaves. Minutes later, the report finally comes through. The young raider is alive. On the helicopter back, the young raider across from you is completely still. His first direct action operation. His first time looking at hostages after the breach clears. He stares at nothing in particular. You know that expression. You wore it once. You don't say anything. There is nothing to say. Some things can only be received in silence. Retirement. 8:30 a.m. Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. The ceremony is small. You asked for that. A flag. A few handshakes. Photographs that will sit in a drawer for a long time. More than 2 decades in uniform. The Marine Corps gave you experiences impossible to translate and cost you things equally impossible to quantify. Finished before noon. As you leave the installation for the last time, a formation of candidates moves in the distance. Running. Some are already falling behind. Some will not make it past the first week. A few will become raiders. And one of them, without knowing it, will carry something forward into operations that have not yet been planned. That is the work, not the missions, not the deployments, not the distinctions that rarely exist in this community anyway. The greatest achievement was never the title. It was becoming someone who could hold the standard with enough integrity that the generation behind you inherited it whole. That is all any of this was ever for.